Today's file, Operation Northwoods. In 1962, a document was presented to the Secretary of Defense listing numerous false flag events the military could stage to enter into war with Cuba. But how far was the U.S. government willing to go? The answer is chilling. In 1959, Fidel Castro was in power in Cuba and had allowed communists into his government. Cuba and the Soviet Union were strengthening ties which concerned the U.S. military. In 1962, General Lyman Lemnitzer, who was the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff at the time, drafted a plan with the other members to find a solution to end Fidel Castro's regime. The result was a plan named Operation Northwoods, and the end game was to find a solution to remove Castro from power. Operation Northwoods suggested numerous false flag events that could be used as an instrument to enter into war with Cuba. The document was presented by the Joint Chiefs of Staff to Secretary of Defense Robert McNamara on the 13th of March 1962 for planning purposes. Here are some of the proposed ideas listed in the document. Incidents to establish a credible attack. Start rumors, many. Use clandestine radio. Land friendly Cubans in uniform over the fence to stage an attack on base. Capture Cuban friendly saboteurs inside the base. Start riots near the base main gate, friendly Cubans. Blow up ammunition inside the base. Start fires. Burn aircraft on airbase, sabotage. Lob mortar shells from outside of base into base to damage some installations. Capture assault teams approaching from the sea or vicinity of Guantanamo City. Capture militia group which storms the base. Sabotage ship in harbor, large fires. Naphthalene. Sink ship near harbor entrance. Conduct funerals for mock victims. The list goes on with potential ways to stage an attack to blame on Cuba. One idea in particular is very chilling to say the least, and it may provide more information into why the same theory was brought up around the 9/11 attacks in 2001. The ideas in the document continued by suggesting that hijacking attempts against civil air and surface craft should appear to continue as harassing measures condoned by the government of Cuba. It is possible to create an incident which will demonstrate convincingly that a Cuban aircraft has attacked and shot down a chartered civil airliner en route from the United States to Jamaica, Guatemala, Panama, or Venezuela. The destination would be chosen only to cause the flight plan route to cross Cuba. The passengers could be a group of college students off on a holiday, or any grouping of persons with a common interest to support chartering a non-scheduled flight. An aircraft at Eglin Air Force Base would be painted and numbered as an exact duplicate for a civil-registered aircraft belonging to a CIA proprietary organization in the Miami area. At a designated time, the duplicate would be substituted for the actual civil aircraft and would be loaded with selected passengers, all boarded under carefully prepared aliases. The actual registered aircraft would be converted to a remote-controlled drone. Takeoff times of the drone aircraft and the actual aircraft will be scheduled to allow a rendezvous south of Florida. From the rendezvous point, the passenger-carrying aircraft will descend to a minimum altitude and go directly into an auxiliary field at Eglin Air Force Base, where arrangements will have been made to evacuate the passengers and return the aircraft to its original status. The drone aircraft, meanwhile, will continue to fly the filed flight plan. When over Cuba, the drone will begin transmitting on the international distress frequency a Mayday message stating he is under attack by Cuban MiG aircraft. The transmission will be interrupted by destruction of the aircraft, which will be triggered by radio signal. This will allow ICAO radio stations in the Western Hemisphere to tell the U.S. what has happened to the aircraft instead of the U.S. trying to sell the incident. The full document can be read online at catalog.archives.gov and by searching for Plan for U.S. Military Intervention in Cuba, codenamed Northwoods. In a memo outlining the meeting between President John F. Kennedy and General Lemnitzer about Operation Northwoods in 1962, the president said bluntly that we were not discussing the use of military force. President Kennedy removed General Lemnitzer as the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff after the meeting. In 1963, Lemnitzer became the Supreme Allied Commander of NATO. The Operation Northwoods document was unclassified and made public as part of the John F. Kennedy Assassination Records Review Board in 1997.